We read the question stem first and notice that it is an assumption question. Next, we read the paragraph, develop our mind map, and identify the conclusion of the passage, which is this last sentence. We see that on direct consumption, children and adults have identical responses, whereas the second-hand consumption leads to a different response in children compared to the response in adults on direct consumption. So we notice that in the second part here, the comparison is between direct consumption, but in the first case here, the comparison is between second-hand consumption among children and direct consumption among adults. Whereas the conclusion is that the nicotine one is exposed to through second-hand consumption is chemically distinct from the nicotine one consumes directly through tobacco. Please notice the operative phrase chemically distinct here. The passage is saying that the two responses are different because the nicotine involved is chemically distinct in the two cases. And this is based on the response on second-hand consumption and direct consumption being different. Here is the missing link, that the difference in response happened because of the nicotine involved being chemically distinct and not any other reason. Answer choice E suggests that the difference in how nicotine is introduced into the body is not what causes the difference. Therefore, this answer choice suggests that the issue is not direct consumption versus second-hand consumption. The issue is likely that the nicotine involved in the two cases are chemically distinct. This answer choice fills the missing link and strengthens the conclusion that since the way nicotine is introduced into the body is not the cause, probably the nicotine being chemically distinct is the cause. And yes, this information must be true for the argument to hold, because when we negate it, we get that the difference in how nicotine is introduced into the body is what causes the difference in responses. And therefore, in such a case, the conclusion that the nicotine involved is chemically distinct is weakened. Therefore, answer choice E fills the missing link, thereby strengthening the conclusion, and it represents something that must be true for the argument to hold. E is going to be the correct answer choice. Answer choice A talks about the response of an adult second-hand consumption being identical to child's response. So this answer choice focuses on adult's response versus child's response. That the two responses are identical is not something that must be true for the argument to hold. Therefore, answer choice A is incorrect. Similarly, answer choice B talks about the reaction being stronger in children than in adults. This answer choice neither strengthens the argument nor needs to be necessarily true for the argument to hold. B is clearly incorrect. That there are no conditions under which the second-hand consumption would lead to the same response as through direct consumption has no bearing on the argument. Incorrect. Choice D talks about the response through second-hand consumption and direct consumption being the same in certain individuals, and this answer choice does not strengthen the conclusion, rather it weakens the conclusion. Therefore, this cannot be a valid assumption. Answer choice E fills the missing link, thereby strengthening the conclusion, and is something that must be true for the argument to hold. Therefore, E is the correct answer choice.